it's not something I think that anyone else has attempted in the way that we do it, so there isn't a blueprint for what we do. So, I mean, that's the kind of the pleasure of doing something that's sort of unique, is that you can really essentially make it up as you go along. There are no rules because none have been established.
So Gorillaz have a new track out, new single, and Damon Albarn is going to tell us more about it after this. It's Gorillaz on Radio 2, and you're going to hear the brand new track from Gorillaz. That was something old. That was Melancholy Hill. But now we're going to talk to Damon Albarn, who is obviously very, very instrumental when it comes to Gorillaz. So you've worked... Hi, Damon. How are you, by the way?
I'm okay. I'm okay. A bit tired. Just been on playing gigs for feels like ever at the moment.
I know. What have the gigs been like? I know you did Primavera a couple of weeks ago. You've done a ton of these European gigs.
Oh, we started in South America, which was a kind of amazing place to start because it's sort of as good as it gets. So we sort of managed to keep that going, and Primavera was comparable to the best in South America. So yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy about how it's going.
And when you look out at the audience, when you look at the crowd, what are you seeing? What kind of reaction are you getting from the crowd? Who's in your audience now when you play with the Gorillaz?
Is multi-generational, and there's a lot of kids sort of squashed up at the front with their parents behind them. And then you've got, like, you know, sort of teenagers. Yes, it's a wonderful mix of people.
Which, as an artist who's been making music for quite a long time, must be reassuring because you want to get a new audience, but also be fantastic.
I mean, I have to say, I do love the young kids because it's sort of, you know, it's quite obvious for a lot of them it's their first ever gig, you know, and they're the most important people in the audience, really.
And they've got the energy as well, which you can feed off.
And they've got it all ahead of them as well. So it's just so fresh and, like, you know, it's like magical for them.
Yeah. And the new track, which we're going to hear in just a minute, is called Cracker Island. It's just arrived for me to play, and it features Thundercat. So what can you tell us about this particular track? What excited you? Why did you want to work with Thundercat?
Well, he's from a very musical family, and he's like a sort of multi-instrumentalist and an amazing player. I mean, he came through Greg Kirsten, who produced the record. And on Cracker Island, I'd always wanted to get a falsetto kind of answering voice to the narrative that I'm singing. And Greg thought he'd be a really good collaborator. And he also, you know, put down an amazing bass line, which sort of, I think, elevated the whole track. And it's why we've ended up putting it out first. It's a story about the people, sort of what happens on this island, how a cult, a madness cult is formed, and what happens to it.
Okay, and
it's quite a narrative, actually. It's sort of,
this island, is this where we'll find Murdoch and Noodle and Russell and 2D? Will they be living there?
Kind of, yeah. You'll find them on all the islands, but this is the first the introductory island, Cracker Island.
Okay, fine.
All the mad things can exist happily.
Okay. And where did this come from? This is your idea, I presume?
Yes.
Okay. And what? Yeah, where did it come from? What made you...
Come from? I don't know, from my brain.
But observing society, I'm just wondering what your thoughts are about it all, of course.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the idea that the people live these days within these sort of realities that they kind of sort of confect themselves, you know, and they don't want to really kind of explore what's outside. So you could apply it to Russia at the moment. They're sort of incapable of really reaching out and seeing the reality of what's happening, you know. They accept the narrative they're given, and that's what Cracker Island's kind of about. You know, and the same with the alt-right in America. It's the same thing. So I just thought it would be nice, in a positive way, to put them all in one place together. They could all live happily ever after.
I like this narrative. And where did you record?
After the sort of the demise of the 4-track and cassettes, I gravitated to GarageBand, and I kind of start everything on GarageBand and then sort of build it up from then. But this record was recorded predominantly in Los Angeles with Greg Kurstin, who's an amazing producer. And I was sort of initially quite resistant to the idea of working with such a pop producer. I met him, and he was in the Flaming Lips. He's the same age as me. He played with Beck. We both have exactly the same taste in pop music when we were growing up. So actually, it was a marriage made in heaven.
Oh, you must have had so much fun. It must have been really just hugely enjoyable.
So much fun. We had so much fun, and it was really quite effortless making the tunes.
And did you like LA? Because I don't think you've liked it in the past.
Well, I never liked LA. I always used to be stuck in West Hollywood in seemingly the same hotel for 2 decades, and then during lockdown, because I was down in Devon all the time, I sort of bit the bullet and learned to drive again. And so when I went to LA, I had a car, and it just totally changed my outlook. I actually sort of got out of the Sunset Boulevard and just explored everything. It's got so much to offer, really. I don't want to live there, but I did enjoy it a lot more than I had previously.
Where did you go that you really enjoyed? Where were the fun bits? Where would you recommend?
Just being able to drive about, and sort of so many kind of... it's a very creative place, actually, which is something I didn't really get why everyone liked it. I just thought it was weird, but I think it's just very eclectic. So it's which bit you choose. And I suppose ultimately there's something for everyone there.
There are so many UK musicians living there now, aren't there? I mean, I'd imagine you kind of congregate or bump into each other, or it must be quite a nice community, or maybe avoid each other.
One person I bumped into was who I've made music with in the past, is Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And I was on a beach, and there was no one else in the water because it's quite cold, the water there. And there was just this little head bobbing around. And I swam out, and as close as I got, then I realised it was him. So it's just me and him in this huge, great ocean.
Oh, looking like a seal. That's amazing. I'm really looking forward for people to hear the record I'm about to play now. And then, are you feeling excited about it? Because this is, I guess, it feels like it's pop. It's moving in a pop direction, working with Greg.
Oh, we'll wait and see whether that's the case or not. I mean, I aspire to that always. Okay. I fall short on many occasions, but I'm forever hopeful.
Will you be watching Glastonbury on the television at all? Do you have any interest or awareness of it going on?
What's the weather? Is it going to be good weather, do you think, this year? No.
But up until about 5 days ago, I was so excited, and then all of a sudden the forecast came through, and you're like, damn it!
I'll never forget when I headlined with Blur in 1997. It was so muddy, and I thought... I got down into the pit because it's quite high, so to get down is quite a thing, to get down into the pit on the Pyramid Station. I got down there, and I thought I'd cover my face in mud, so I kind of sort of was at one with the muddied masses. And I came back on the stage, and I covered myself in it, and then I started smelling through my nostrils, and it was kind of freaking. It didn't smell like wholesome mud.
Oh, that's one hell of an image. So this is brand new Gorillaz, and this is Cracker Island, featuring Thundercat.
On Cracker Island it was born.
What do you think? Called Cracker Island, and it's from Gorillaz. First taster of hopefully things to come from them, featuring Thundercat. And that was Damon talking beforehand.